So much to all New Zealanders.
Chair.
Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr. Chair, can I take a moment to thank the member who's just resumed his seat for the splendid chairing role that he is undertaking as the chair of the Justice and Electoral Committee. And I know that his whole team on the committee is working very hard, and I'd acknowledge all members of the committee because I know that they're doing their very best to undertake their duties with professionalism, which is what we'd all like to see from all members of the House. Mr. Chair, I need to record here that recorded crime for 2010 to 11 fiscal year was a 7% fall on the year before, 2009-10. The recorded crime rate in 2010 was 9,761 per 100,000 population, the lowest it has been since 1982 and 25% lower than its peak in 1992. What we are seeing is a drop in crime that has not been seen at that level since the 1930s. We have prosecution levels in 2010 were 13% lower than in 2009. And that is after they had grown and peaked in 2009, having grown by 25% over the previous 15 years. What we are seeing is that the government's policies, the acts that this government has brought through, are actually having a huge effect. And so is too an attitude that actually crime shouldn't pay, that we do stand up for the victims of crime, that we do stand up for law and order, that we do support the police, the corrections department, we do support our court staff, the ministry, the judges. We get on and we support them and we don't give in to criminals. And I actually think that has been one of the best things that I can think of in my time in Parliament, is to see what has happened to the crime rate. And of course the crime rate's not just about numbers. It's actually mostly about people. And by people I say, Mr. Chair, victims of crime. When we have less crime, we have fewer victims, and that is something we should all be very pleased about. What that does mean, though, too, is that we have opportunities in the justice system to look at more innovative ways in which we deal not only with crime, but in other areas of the court system, such as the family courts and other courts, to look at how can we do things better, more efficiently, how can we use new technologies, and certainly the audio-visual links that we've introduced in the last few years between corrections and the courts has meant that that has been a huge saving to corrections, but also has taken away a real source of danger for the public. And so we're looking at how we can use technology better, how we can look at having an accessible justice system so that members of the public can, for instance, file their documents online, or their lawyers can file documents online for them any hour of the day or night, how they can access files that they need to, their own files, in a way that is user-friendly, how judges and staff won't have to haul around great big thick files that they have at the moment, paper files. Things get lost, they get put on wrong files, and actually to bring in an electronic operating model that works well not only for the judiciary, but actually for the lawyers and for those people who use the courts. So none of this should be too much news for people, because it's a sort of business operation that businesses actually undertake and have done for years now. But it's important, I think, for instance, that we look at how we use the very valuable dollars that we use in the justice system. And that's actually looking at, for instance, should we have lawyers waiting around for cases to come up for trial, when, for instance, a text message to the lawyer from the court staff would tell them when it's on, so they're not wasting their time and therefore wasting money either on legal aid or through their client. So there's ways that we can look at doing that, but that actually requires a real steep learning curve for a lot of people involved in the justice system, and that's about working together. And I've found that when I've talked to the judiciary and with lawyers, that they are particularly keen to do that. They want to work with the police and corrections and the court system so that they can, in fact, get better outcomes for everyone involved. And better outcomes means actually a quicker, fairer trial. It means people being able to access the justice system without huge cost. But it also means that those matters that come into the court system are dealt with fairly and in accordance with their law. And I think it's also worth noting that we're very fortunate in New Zealand that we have a judiciary that is truly independent, that is free of corruption, that we have a police force that is in a similar situation, And we are very lucky in this country, and I do sometimes despair at the odd media report screaming headlines about these things when we don't give enough credit to those people who play their part in the justice system. We're very fortunate indeed.
The question is that the report of the Justice and Electoral Committee on the 2010-11 financial review of the Ministry of Justice be noted. Those who have that opinion will say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. I understand the next financial review members wish to debate is the financial review of the Ministry.